Wyatt Spencer stepped back into Los Angeles not as the charming, affable man people remembered, but as a storm cloaked in a tailored suit. He didn't call ahead. He didn't alert family. He didn't smile when he saw the skyline. His return wasn't about reunions or nostalgia. It was war. Years away from the ruthless corridors of Spencer Publications had hardened him, taught him how easily loyalty could be discarded when power was on the line. He hadn't forgotten how his father, Dollar Bill Spencer, had quietly rewritten the company's succession structure, effectively erasing Wyatt from the will and removing his stake in the empire he helped build. The betrayal stung, but worse was the silence. No justification, no explanation, just a quiet exile while Liam was elevated as the heir apparent. Now Wyatt was back, and this time he wasn't going to ask for a seat at the table. He was going to burn the table down. His first move was calculated. He didn't storm into Bill's office. He didn't crash Liam's home. Instead, he met with Richard Kessler, the CEO of Raven Media, a rival media conglomerate that had spent the last 5 years chipping away at Spencer's market share. Wyatt walked into their glass tower with a smile as sharp as a dagger and laid out his plan, a coordinated media campaign targeting Bill and Liam Spencer, framed around corruption, nepotism, and unethical corporate practices. Raven Media didn't hesitate. With Wyatt's insider knowledge of Spencer's financial skeletons, editorial biases, and personal scandals, they knew they had a weapon too valuable to ignore. The first wave hit hard. A viral expose alleging that Bill Spencer had used company funds to cover up a sexual harassment complaint from years ago led to a PR firestorm. Then came a damning documentary about Spencer Publications' labor violations during their overseas expansion, complete with leaked emails and audio recordings. Bill denied everything. Liam scrambled to reassure investors. The Spencer board went into emergency sessions, but Wyatt didn't flinch. He stood in the shadows, feeding Raven Media every file, every memo, every dirty little secret he had stashed away during his years at the company. Then came the personal attacks. Photos of Liam's many romantic entanglements, timelines highlighting the overlapping nature of his relationships with Steffi and Hope, and anonymous testimonies painting him as a privileged playboy with no spine. The intent was clear: destroy Liam's image, shake his credibility as the future of Spencer Publications, and force the public and the board to question everything. Meanwhile, Katie Logan, quiet, composed, and always playing peacekeeper, found herself caught in a storm of her own. A single night of comfort, a lapse in judgment, a quiet reconnection with Wyatt had left her with more than regret. She was pregnant. She kept it a secret at first, unsure what to do. Wyatt was consumed by vengeance. Bill was unpredictable. And Liam, the collateral damage in all of it, was emotionally volatile. Katie stood at a crossroads: reveal the pregnancy and risk throwing gasoline on a corporate war already in flames, or stay silent and protect the child from a legacy of chaos. She tried to confide in Donna, but her sister urged caution. Brooke, when she found out, pressured her to tell Bill immediately, claiming secrets never stay buried, and this one could explode at the worst possible moment. But Katie hesitated. Wyatt wasn't just fighting for revenge, he was becoming dangerous. Ruthless. The man she once knew, the man who loved with passion and believed in loyalty, was gone. In his place was someone who saw every relationship as a transaction, every emotion as leverage. Still, the secret grew harder to hide. Her morning sickness became noticeable. Her missed meetings piled up. And when she fainted during a Forrester board presentation, all eyes turned. Quinn, Wyatt's mother, was the first to suspect. She cornered Katie in a dressing room and demanded the truth. When Katie confirmed it, When she whispered that Wyatt was the father, Quinn was stunned, but intrigued. She saw the pregnancy not as a scandal, but as a trump card. Her son wasn't just launching a vendetta, he was staking a claim. A new Spencer heir was growing, and that child, if revealed at the right moment, could shift the balance of power entirely. Quinn pushed Katie to come forward. Katie resisted. She didn't want her child used as a pawn in a war of egos. But the clock was ticking. Meanwhile, the tension between Liam and Bill hit a boiling point. Liam accused his father of gutting Wyatt's inheritance out of fear. Bill fired back that Wyatt was soft, a man who couldn't handle the pressure of real leadership. Their shouting matches became so regular that Steffi, still reeling from her own personal fallout, refused to let Liam talk about work at home. Hope tried to mediate, but she too saw the cracks widening. The Spencers weren't just fracturing. They were falling apart. And in the midst of it all, Wyatt made his boldest move. He held a private press conference, live-streamed to millions. He laid it bare, the details of his exclusion from Spencer publications, the betrayal by his own father, the fabricated narratives used to discredit him. He revealed key documents proving that Bill had funneled Spencer funds into shell companies for personal gain. The media erupted. Stocks plummeted. Spencer's board called for an independent audit. Bill's reign, once seen as untouchable, was bleeding. But Wyatt wasn't done. He dropped a final bombshell, a vague reference to the next generation of Spencer legacy already in the making. The press went wild with speculation. Bill froze. Liam demanded answers. And Katie? Katie knew the moment had arrived. She stepped onto the stage, not a press stage, but into Bill's office. She told him the truth. She was pregnant, and Wyatt was the father. Bill's reaction was nuclear. He saw it as manipulation. He accused her of conspiring to destabilize him, of timing the revelation for maximum damage. But Katie stood firm. This wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. When Wyatt found out Katie had revealed the pregnancy, he was blindsided. Not because he wasn't ready to be a father, he wasn't sure he ever would be, but because she had taken control of the narrative. She had acted without him. At first, he was furious. Then he realized she was right. The child wasn't a weapon. It was a responsibility. And maybe, just maybe, it could be the thing that pulled him back from the edge. But the war wasn't over. Liam, determined to salvage Spencer's reputation, began leaking stories about Wyatt's unstable past, his impulsive decisions, failed relationships, erratic investments. He painted Wyatt as a man unfit to lead, unfit to raise a child, and certainly unfit to claim any legacy. The gloves were off. Wyatt, in response, threatened to sue Spencer Publications for wrongful disinheritance and defamation. The case caught the attention of the media and the business world alike. Legal experts debated inheritance rights. Talk shows speculated on the child's future. The pressure mounted on every front. Katie, caught in the center, tried to shield herself and the baby from the chaos. She issued a statement requesting privacy, but the damage was done. Paparazzi stalked her house. Her son was pulled into the headlines. And in the chaos, one truth became clear: there was no going back. What had begun as a quiet return became a corporate and emotional earthquake. Wyatt didn't just want revenge, he wanted recognition. He wanted power. And now, with a child on the way, he had leverage no lawsuit could match. The battle lines were drawn. Bill, clawing to hold his empire together. Liam, desperate to prove his worth. Wyatt, fighting for redemption and dominance. And Katie, trying to protect a life not yet born from a world already on fire. And the city of Los Angeles watched, hungry for the next blow. The storm Wyatt had unleashed consumed everything. Spencer Publications was in chaos. Stockholders were jumping ship. Legal battles were closing in. Media scrutiny hadn't slowed. It had sharpened. The company's image, once solid gold, now looked toxic. Bill Spencer, once a titan in complete control, was cornered like never before. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't holding the reins. He was watching his empire, his reputation, and his legacy collapse because of his own son. And in Bill's world, betrayal wasn't forgiven. It was punished. Wyatt's press campaign had delivered blow after blow. Board members whispered about removing Bill as CEO. Sponsors backed out of billion-dollar deals. Raven Media continued to release damning stories with strategic precision. Bill knew Wyatt was behind it all. The media didn't know where to look until Wyatt gave them a flashlight. Every leak, every document, every scandal, Wyatt handed it over, piece by piece, smirking through interviews while claiming he only wanted transparency. What enraged Bill most wasn't the financial impact. It wasn't even the humiliation. It was the fact that Wyatt had exposed him as weak. The great dollar Bill Spencer, humbled by his own blood. His enemies were circling, and the man who had once shared his last name was now the one holding the knife. And then came the final straw. Wyatt filed a lawsuit demanding a court-ordered audit of Spencer Publications and a full review of the revised will that had removed him from the company's succession plan. That audit could open every closet, every skeleton, every move Bill had made in secrecy to protect his fortune and power. It could destroy everything. Bill snapped. He didn't yell. He didn't call a lawyer. He didn't argue with the board. He called Wyatt. Wyatt, riding high on public support and media praise, thought it was a surrender. He met Bill alone at the Spencer family cabin in Big Bear, neutral ground, miles away from reporters, lawyers, or cell towers. He walked in unafraid, arrogant, ready to twist the knife deeper. But Bill wasn't there to talk. The cabin was silent. Cold. A storm was coming in, clouds low and heavy over the trees. Wyatt stepped inside, calling out. He thought maybe Bill was stalling, trying to play one last psychological game. Then he saw the scotch on the table. Then he saw the gun. Bill stepped out from the shadows like a ghost. Quiet, calculated, and deadly. After everything I gave you, he said, voice calm, you spit in my face. Wyatt didn't flinch. You erased me from your life. I just returned the favor. You tried to destroy me. I tried to survive you. You're not my son. That makes two of us. That was it. The trigger pulled. One shot. No hesitation. The echo of the gunfire thundered through the cabin, through the trees, swallowed by the coming storm. Wyatt collapsed instantly. No struggle. No last words. Just silence. Bill stood over the body of his son, heart pounding but face blank. Not regret. Not sorrow. Just rage purged in a single, irreversible moment. He cleaned up with military precision. He poured bleach. He wiped down the table. He destroyed Wyatt's phone. Then he dragged the body to the trunk of his SUV and disappeared into the night. The official story? Wyatt left the country. Needed space. Wanted to disappear. Raven Media released a brief statement, supposedly from Wyatt, announcing his sabbatical. The press, confused but intrigued, went digging, but Bill had already paid off the necessary hands. No one could track Wyatt. His social media went dark. His last known location, the cabin, was wiped clean. But not everyone bought it. Katie felt it instantly. She called. Texted. Nothing. She contacted Quinn, who panicked. She hadn't heard from her son in days. Liam, suspicious, pressed Bill for answers, but Bill stayed icy calm, said Wyatt was playing games and would resurface. But the look in Bill's eyes? Liam saw something else. Something cold. Something final. Katie, spiraling, finally broke. She revealed the pregnancy to the media, hoping Wyatt would come forward. Hoping he'd see. But there was no response. The investigation started small, a missing persons report. But then Katie pushed harder. Hired a private investigator. Dug into cell tower pings. Flight logs. Surveillance. Then the discovery came. A hunter deep in the Angeles National Forest found a shallow grave disturbed by rain. Inside, a decomposed body. Dental records confirmed it. Wyatt Spencer. LA exploded. The press turned savage. Media mogul's son found murdered in National Forest. Wyatt Spencer slain, family remains silent. Spencer dynasty crumbles in tragedy. Police questioned everyone, Katie, Quinn, even Liam. But all roads led back to one man. Bill. They searched the cabin. Blood residue, traces missed. A shell casing. Fibers. It wasn't clean enough. The crime scene bled under scrutiny. Then came the warrant. Bill was arrested. The world watched as he was led out of Spencer Publications in handcuffs. The man who ruled with intimidation, arrogance, and wealth was now a suspect in the murder of his own son. The board stripped him of his title. The company fell into free fall. Liam, stunned and gutted, took interim control, haunted by the possibility that his father could kill and that he might be next. Katie broke down publicly. Pregnant, grieving, and terrified, she begged the world to remember the Wyatt she knew, funny, flawed, full of heart. Her press conference became a lightning rod for support and outrage. The public turned on Bill. Sponsors abandoned Spencer. Protests erupted outside the building. Quinn disappeared. She fled the city, inconsolable, unwilling to face the reality that her son was gone by the hand of the man she once loved. The trial of William Spencer became the media event of the decade. Testimonies, evidence, family trauma aired like entertainment. Liam testified. So did Katie. So did Quinn, via video deposition. Every secret came out. Every motive was examined. Bill's defense? He denied it all. He claimed Wyatt was unstable. Said he probably staged his own death. Hired a forensic expert to try and discredit the evidence. But it wasn't enough. The jury deliberated for 3 days. Verdict: guilty. Murder in the first degree. Life without parole. The fall of Dollar Bill Spencer was complete. Katie gave birth to a baby boy and named him Wyatt Jr. Liam took permanent control of Spencer Publications, vowing to lead with transparency and compassion, though he knew the shadow of his father would never fully disappear. Los Angeles would never forget the scandal. The media would never stop reprinting the headlines. And in quiet corners of the city, where secrets still fester, people whispered about how one man's hunger for power cost him everything, even his own blood.